Whoa, are you ready for your blood pressure to hit the roof? Remember when Attorney General Eric Holder was called to testify in front of Congress and the American people about snooping on journalists? We got a lot of this.
I don't know. I don't know what has happened in this matter. I don't know. I don't know. I assume he was, but I don't know. That I don't know. I don't know why that didn't happen. I don't know. That I'm not sure. We probably have to get back to you with an answer on that. I just don't know. I don't know whether or not what funds are being used or whether that letter would apply to that effort. I just don't know. I don't know. I simply don't know.
But in between some 62 I don't knows, Mr. Holder said this about his role in subpoenaing journalists. Remember, he's under oath.
With regard to the potential prosecution of the press for the disclosure of material, that is not something that I've ever been involved in, heard of, or would think would be a wise policy. In fact, my view is quite the opposite.
Once more, the important part.
That is not something that I've ever been involved in, heard of, or would think would be a wise policy.
Not something I've been involved in or heard of. Really? So how do you explain your signature on the subpoena of Fox's phone records? According to NBC, you, sir, signed that document. Therefore, you, sir, must have been involved with it, and you, sir, most certainly must have heard of it. Kimberly, the man raised his right hand, and if we find him in a lie, what happens?
Jail, I wish, I hope. I mean, he should be held in contempt. I mean, this is a crime as far as I'm concerned, and this is the man that is the head of the Justice Department. Wow. Were they short on resumes? I mean, this person has proved himself to be completely unsuited for this job. I don't think he has any credibility left. When his lips are moving, it seems to me that he's lying. That's the problem. Well, you like him.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. While he was swearing, he had his fingers crossed.
Oh, okay.
And you know, as a lawyer in court, if your fingers are crossed, it's null and void. Look, you know what his argument's going to be? You can't know everything. You can't know everything because the government is so big and so vast that he's only one man. Well, what is that telling you what the solution should be? A smaller, more limited government. And to me, it is just awesome that the champions of big government are the best argument against big government. Watch that. Watch him talk. That is a lesson for everybody.
Dana, are you buying it that Eric Holder testified under oath that he had never heard of subpoenaing journalists and never knew about it, yet he signed the subpoena?
I do find it very bizarre. I worked at the Justice Department for a while, and I know the Attorney General is a very busy person. Whoever has the job, they got a lot to do. They probably have a lot of papers to sign, but this wasn't like correspondence. Right. Okay, this is a search warrant for a reporter. I believe, I would hope, that this is unprecedented. That it would be something that would stick out in your mind.
Versus routine.
That if you're getting up to go and do a hearing, and this has been in the news for several days, the press secretary has had to deal with it, the President of the United States has dealt with it, then you go and testify and you say you didn't have anything to do with it. So he's on the hook, but also remember, somebody had to bring that paper to him. Okay, so you got the Assistant Attorney General who asked for the document. You have Attorney General's staff who prepared the document for him to sign and give it to him, and then they don't even remind him that he signed a document to spy on a reporter. Right. It does.
They don't remind him before he testifies on the Hill, raising his hand, taking the oath. Bob, heavy lifting now, my man. Well, is there any defense of Eric Holder?
You're up for it.
First of all, contempt of Congress is a federal violation, so I don't think that there is a penalty with it if in fact that's the case, which obviously it seems like it is. Look, I look at it much more from a political standpoint. He's becoming a liability now. If the Huffington Post is out against him, and I've talked to a lot of people on the left, the whole left, that are feeling very uncomfortable with it. And, you know, it's funny, Eric Holder tried to get out of that job about 6 months before the election, and Obama and Valerie Jarrett talked him into staying. I think he should have stuck with his instincts. It's just, I don't give him much. This is one of those things in Washington where begins to cut and it bleeds, and I think he's going to probably find himself out of work.
But can we get this in here very quickly? We'll still talk about this, but listen to President Obama. Here's the problem with government. When something goes wrong, they investigate. But listen how they want to do it this time.
Themselves.
I'm troubled by the possibility that leak investigations may chill the investigative journalism that holds government accountable. I've raised these issues with the Attorney General, who shares my concerns. So he's agreed to review existing Department of Justice guidelines governing investigations that involve reporters. And I've directed the Attorney General to report back to me by July 12th.
Kimberly, Eric Holder investigates Eric Holder.
Yeah, I mean, this is just incredibly inappropriate. I mean, how can you say that there's going to be an unbiased investigation here? He's going to say, oh, we're doing an investigation and we did nothing wrong. Or he's going to say, I don't know. Or he's going to say, I recuse himself. Now, he's really good at recusing himself, but now what he needs to do is remove himself. That's the right thing, the prudent thing to do at this point.
I think we also need to know, though, what is the standard now? So what is the standard at the Justice Department? Do we have a First Amendment that we utilize to protect journalists, or do we not? And also, so President Obama, if I were a reporter, this is what I would ask the press secretary. President Obama says he talked to Eric Holder, and he told Eric Holder, I want you to review this. And so in that conversation, did Eric Holder remember that he had signed the search warrant? Or did he say, I don't know, sir, I got to check into this? In the meantime, NBC News uncovers that, in fact, Eric Holder actually signed the document. So what did the Attorney General tell the President? And was it truthful? That's what I'd ask.
Well, that's a good question, Dana.
Thank you.
Holder investigating Holder, I feel bad for him because he probably doesn't even know where to start. There's so much. But essentially, it's like having a kid grade his own paper.
Oh, I hated that.
Yes, I'm sure you did. But it's not about, here's my feeling.
You want to be modest. No, because you want to be modest and you're like self-critical. I hated it.
But it's not about Eric Holder. I want to go back to what Bob said about there being a cut and it's bleeding. In a climate of intolerance, it really doesn't matter if Holder goes or not. It's like a salamander. You cut the tail off, it just grows another one. You get rid of Holder, another one takes its place. Basically, all this is it's a lesson for America to see what happens when government gets larger and larger and becomes insatiable about power. The best remedy for big government is sunlight. People are watching what happens.
No, the thing I find remarkable about this, I know Eric Holder, and I have always admired him in many ways.
Still?
Huh?
Still?
Well, it raises questions. Could you leave me alone?
I can't.
I've had a rough week.
I'll give you a massage later.
I find it amazing. He's not a stupid man. I mean, to go up there and say that, and that's not something to be taken lightly. The signing that subpoena. Now, I could say you could another call for an independent prosecutor. I mean, for a special. They don't have special calls for an independent prosecutor. But then you got Eric Holder appointed it. So how are you going to do that?
Or did he just sign the documents? Did the Assistant Attorney General come in and say, "Hey, boss, can you sign this for me? You know, like just right here." Like,
yeah, but that's what his point is, right? Though
when it's